But yeah, that is us done with fire. And we're now moving on to our ice, starting with Omaru. 2 cost 9k forward Yeti. I love that this is a Yeti. Omaru must attack once per turn if possible. When Omaru enters the field, if you control 4 or less category 6 characters, discard 1 card. Dull, put Omaru into the break zone. Your opponent discards 2 cards.
I love this card.
Yeah, it's great.
Like, this is this is exactly what category 6 needed. It needed something like this.
So,
Like cheap giant frame to just beat people over the head with a stick.
So
it's like a lot of people say, oh, it has downsides. What downsides? Attacks once per turn if possible? Oh, cool. It's a 9k. What are you going to do? Block it? Cool. Oh, I have to discard a card. Cool. It's still a 4 cost 9k.
Well, you don't even need to discard it. And as Kanaga was mentioning, like, Go-Go just says, you just empty your hand now.
Yeah, Go-Go, ditch 4.
Like, that's ridiculous. And in saying that as well, Go-Go is also category 6.
Go-Go's also cat 6. Also, other things I need to point out. You're playing Sabin. If you play Sabin early enough, you're going to have 4 characters. So there should pretty much always be a 2 cost. And on top of that, you can go, cool, Sabin Chakra, untap. During your opponent's turn, make them ditch 2. Because this is not during your turn.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I also just love the dumb idea, like, no one should do this, I am being an idiot here. Play Omaru, Amaterasu the effect.
Nah, then you still have to ditch the card.
But yeah, I know, that's the joke. You lose more, but I just love that dumb shit.
Yeah. Also helps because, like, we don't have a good card named Umaru for, like, the more aggressive Cat 7. Like, the Fire Ice side of things.
Like, the only one I've really liked is the 7 cost one, and yeah, that's been about it.
Great for, like, big ice water control Cat 6.
Yeah, but we finally got an early, Nah, this is really good. I love this card. It just...
Yeah, this is a very powerful Omaru.
And I'm glad that we got the most
adorable. That it exists.
And I'm glad that we got the most adorable art for the most powerful one.
Yeah, that's great because we had 2 really garbage Pictologica cards. Now we have a good one.
And it's the Yeti.
It's the Yeti.
Always remember to pat your Yeti.
Coming to help the dungeon to do. Anyway.
Speaking of more interesting ice cards, 2 costs Scholar. Forward standard unit 5k. When Scholar enters the field, you may pay 1 ice. When you do so, your opponent randomly discards 1 card. This hurt me so much. Damage 3, pay ice dull, choose 1 forward, dull it.
I am
Gimme.
I am simultaneously excited and terrified of this card.
Why is this so random, bro? Like, why do we have this multiplay thing that makes my opponent randomly discard? Like, my goodness.
And I'll pay the extra 1. I'll pay 3 for that.
Yeah,
I'll pay 3 for that 3 times.
Yeah, like, this is as close as Ice is ever going to get as a name.
Oh god, yeah.
This is as close as Ice is ever going to get to having Thaumaturge back in their decks.
Yeah, it's, like, nuts. And it's multiplayer. Like, why is it multiplayer?
That's why I said I will pay 3 for this 3 times happily.
Yeah, because, like, I can feel it, right? I'm gonna rock up. Someone's gonna, like, do all their plays. I'm gonna play Scholar. Or they had to keep a card in hand. Oh, cool. I'll make them randomly discard. Oh, I hit the card you needed to win the game. Cool. Guess I win that.
Yeah.
Worst case scenario, they play.
There's a lot of standard unit forward recursion in this set and in the game in general, and especially in Ice.
Yeah.
Also, even if they somehow get to play the card that they need to win the game, cool. I dull it at the start of your combat.
Yeah. Like, get the damage 3. Cool. Now I can just start dying stuff.
That's cute.
Yeah. And hint for people looking at effects like this, obviously barring like an important situation, you want to do this at the opponent's start of combat.
Or if they don't attack it.
Yeah. If you have this, if this is about to untap immediately, you use it, but tapping it during their start of combat means they lose an attacker and a blocker.
Yeah.
So just a little bit of a hint to new players about timing with cards that say dull. Super Soldier, 2 cost standard unit forward 5k type 0. If you have a card named Super Soldier in your break zone, Super Soldier gets plus 3k power.
Super Soldier, super shit.
Yeah, limited.
Super garbage.
Maybe limited. Like if you draft 10 of these, you've probably won, but eh.
If you draft 10 of these, you're dying to whatever 9k your opponent has. Move on.
They somehow get a full art Shinryu for some reason.
Yeah. No, it's like no, they just get Umaro and just ability whatever.
Yeah,
let's just casually move on to the next card.
What card? I don't know what you're talking about. Oh yes, something good. 2-cost Edward, backup Bard. Dull. Choose one card in your opponent's break zone, remove it from the game.
So all the good Pictologica cards are nice, apparently.
Yeah, so far.
Also, I'm just going to say it now, Harley says cannot become 0, so this is not being a 0-cost backup.
No.
Thank
No.
the Lord.
1 cost. At best.
Yeah.
In saying that, this is still a really good card for ice aggressive strategies, because all it takes is one activation to put your opponent off of a reanimation strategy. It only takes one.
And does not say only during your turn. Instant speed. I get priority. I always get priority.
Yeah, cool. You have Tenjin, you have a Balthier, you have like a Kusith, you have whatever's bringing something back. No. But I feel like this is actually super cool.
No, I love this card.
Really smart with this card.
Oh yeah, if you screw up with this card, and I actually had the interesting thing. I had I don't want to say too many spoilers, but I had 2 effects that were going to get something back, and I made my opponent have to pick which one. And obviously that can make and break if you pick the wrong one.
Oh, it's more a case of seeing how powerful this card is. I guarantee you there are going to be people out there who are going to be tempted to play off curve just to keep this up.
Yes, that will be me. This is not.
Yeah,
if I know they're playing some kind of recursion or bin, I am keeping this untapped as much as possible, just like I would the backups that say counter a summon.
Yeah. What is
again? This is that's just normal. As far as this card goes, Icefire. I mentioned that Icefire's got 9 backups, like already slots taken, and then they're only running 12 or 13 backups. This is going to be one of those remaining 10, 11, or 12. This is a very good card in that.
Honestly, for me, this is the first backup I put in personally, but that's me. Just considering the meta right now.
Job Bard Search or when?
Job Bard Search.
When we feel like it.
Yeah, Opus 24 incoming.
No. It should be Search Red Hat Art.
No, search Cat Pictologica character.
Oh, that would actually. Yeah, I'm like, I don't know how I feel about that one.
Also relevant. It's Cat 4.
Yeah.
Nice win. Let's go.
Alright, our next one, Curry Wiesetter. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right. 5-cost forward King/Ranger, FFBE. That is important in this review. When Curry, I'm just going to call him Curry. When Curry enters the field, gain 1 crystal. When a forward opponent controls is put from the field into the break zone, gain a crystal. This effect will trigger only once per turn. Pay 3 crystal, dull and freeze all characters opponent controls. All characters, by the way. You can only use this ability during your turn. This thing scares me. And this is what I was saying about 5-cost ice cards might not be out of range.
Nah, I think this guy's a bit meh, in all honesty.
So, when I initially saw this card, I was excited when another card of the same game got spoiled. We'll get to that one.
Yes.
Then I started playing around with the card, and then I realized that it is so hard to get everything online, because you're relying on having a 5-cost card paired with another cost card, paired with another cost card, paired with another cost card, to make sure that you're constantly getting all of the crystals enough to generate those effects and generate that dull freeze all the characters. This is a good card, but it is not a bonkers card.
Okay, I have not done any playtesting except the pre-release, so I will say I am behind on that. I think it's... so it seems like I have the same starting observation, but maybe I'll learn as well. It's a lot... I don't think 3 crystals is a lot in the right build, to be honest. Like, between the backups, a bunch of...
3 crystals is not a lot anymore, especially considering he generates one himself.
Possibly more.
At least one.
At least one.
Yeah.
So it's not difficult, especially in ice, it's not difficult for them to get to the 3 crystals. The problem is, it takes a lot for those that deck specifically to get to 3 crystals. If it was a different deck, then it'd get to the crystals a lot faster.
Because if my memory serves correctly, like before this set, Ice is one of the few that has 2 ice creating backups, crystal creating backups.
Yes, 2.
Yeah,
It's the only one that has.
It's the only one.
yeah.
So
It's the only one on ETB that generates 2.
Yeah. That's what I. So yeah, thank you for
but
that.
like I have to point this out. It's a 5 cost that should have been a 4 cost, and it's in a category where it should have had an S.
Yes, yeah. We'll talk about that when we get to it.
We'll get to that.
Yeah, just heads up, everyone. There's a lot in this set that's very synergistic with each other, so we're going to be saying that a lot.
Yeah.
Just a heads up. Hey, Shiva's got pants now, and I love it. 2 cost Shiva, type O summon. Choose one of the 2 following actions. Choose one dull forward of cost 2 or less. Break it. Your opponent discards 1 card. Choose one forward. If it deals damage other than battle damage to a forward this turn, the damage becomes 0 instead. Useful in certain matchups, useless in other, I would say.
So this is Ice's way of telling Fire to bugger off.
Yes. Or the fight in Earth or punch in Earth. I can't remember which one does work.
The fight effects in Earth as well, because...
Yeah. Oh, both. Actually, no, it's both. It's both. We didn't talk about this. It's both.
If it's not battle damage,
yeah,
it doesn't work.
Well, that's why I said punch and fight, but yeah. So I think this is a good tech card. It will come down very heavily to what the meta looks like.
At the same time, though, you can also just randomly break a dull 2 cost and have them discard a card.
Yeah. Like it's
And I also like using this, like if I've attacked with, like say for example I'm in Ice Fire and I'm attacked with my last well and my opponent tries to Brunhilde it, I actually quite like using my own Shiva on my own last well, because then it breaks, but your opponent is still discarding the card.
Yes.
It doesn't specify the forward's controller discards. I could have them spend, like, basically I've just turned their Brunhilde into a 4 CP do nothing.
I don't know if you guys will agree with this, but I kind of feel this should have had EX burst on it.
Nah. Like, knowledge.
Well, it's very situational, so I think it's a reasonable EX.
Fire as pointed out, Fire having all of the no to damage reduction is kind of a problem. But also, Solera exists.
But Adela, can I go? Adela gets countered by this. Adela gets countered by this.
Being cut, and like this feels to me like a worse Solera.
I would still run it as, because the thing is, yes, it tries to tell Fire to bugger off, but Fire has the answers to it. But at the same time, there's a lot of other elements that deal damage that's not battle damage, like Wind AoE, bugger off. Like Lightning dealing high packet damage to an active card, bugger off. Ice even dealing like high packet damage to
one of your dull things,
bugger off.
How many?
I think this is sideboard.
From forwards though.
I think this is sideboard. You consider this as part of a non-existent 15. If the meta calls you to have this in it more than 80% or 70% of the time, you put it in.
And even then, I would still rather play Solera, because that is, in my opinion, still the quintessential Iceland.
You don't say that because Solera has the better cleavage.
Solera is like twins, bro. It's like bootleg Whirlwinds with Yushi. Like,
oh my god. Like, that's where you went. I don't agree with you, but I like that's where you went.
I personally would consider this the Ice Fire Knights deck, just because it's sort of difficult for that deck to, like, anything that's facing that deck, it's sort of difficult for them to maintain resources. So if they try to go all in on like taking out your field, you just pop this Shiva off and you just go no.
Yeah, and I think saving that like one crucial thing from a stacked, even against Modify, a stacked damage effect can just put a wrench in that plan.
Mm-hmm.
So I think this is considered. I think this is a considered. I think it does depend on what the meta looks like after, but I personally think this is good.
I'm not seeing it yet.
I actually don't have, like, to be honest, I can actually understand not being able to see.
Yeah, it's a hard one to call until we actually start seeing decks being played.
We will literally know the answer at re-raise, and I hate that. I hate the answer will come too late. It will come on the day. So, oh god, why this name? Calutiodon? One cost Armadillion? Oh, go back to Digimon. Monster. When enters the field, choose one forward, dull it. 2 ice, 2 generic dull, put it into the break zone, choose one forward, break it. 1 dull forward, break it. Just expensive. Too expensive.
No.
Even with the free
Just move
effect, too much.
Move on.
Yeah. Okay, now
Oh,
we're
sucks.
gonna have something to speak about. Zetat?
Zazat.
Yeah. 1 cost Ice Mobius Dawn Warrior forward 9k. The cost required to cast is increased by 1 for each card in your opponent's hand. Yes, go. I know. When it enters the field, if your opponent has 3 or more cards in their hand, your opponent reveals their hand. Select 1 card in their hand other than a backup. Your opponent discards this card. When attacks all forwards you control get plus 1k power until end of turn. I think I'm just gonna say it now. Bart's Bocco.
Yeah, this snaps
Bart's
straight
Bocco.
into the Bart's Bocco deck.
Yeah, like I like it, but I don't see it anywhere else.
No, I
So-
see it in some water lists.
Yeah, it's actually the best
Oh, Mobius,
reanimation
yes.
target you could possibly think of, and all of the water stuff, like reanimation is water's shtick, so
Like,
Um,
Lena brings this back, and they're both searchable by Zildrum.
that is also very true.
I was
And you don't
thinking
even need to
Mobius,
play this on element.
but do you
Like
think?
that's the power of this card. You don't have to play it on element. It's the best recursion. Like it's the best thing to recur from a break zone, and it's the easiest thing to recur from a break zone.
But do you think that deck will come back though?
Bart's Bocco.
Not Bart's Bocco, the other, the Mobius one.
Well, the water,
Yeah.
water ice. Like,
Ice
Bart's
water.
Bocco is coming back. I know that is.
Well, no,
Honestly-
it's not even an ice water deck though. You can just play water whatever you want and just
water, whatever, just have
like,
some Zazats in there.
Yeah, discard it for something else, and yeah.
Very easy
Exactly.
and searchable. But also, like, even then, I'm fine playing this as, like, a 4 cost. Like, again, as I said earlier with Umaro, like, a 4 cost 9k as a base rate that thought seizes your opponent is
Pseudo
not bad.
Thought
right?
Seizes. Not Days. What's it called? The other D one doesn't matter.
Black
Duress?
But I don't-
Duress. Thank you. Yes, go on.
Yeah,
Puck
like, this is...
target.
Puck target,
Absolutely, it's
yeah,
a puck
yeah.
target.
Yeah,
Well, that's
like,
Bart's Bocco.
yeah, it's a puck
yeah.
target. You're either reanimating this or you're playing it for like 3 or 4. I think at 5 and above, you'd rather play Orphan, but
Yeah,
at
this
4 and
thing,
below, this thing's nice.
Well, here's the thing.
This
Playing
thing is
Orphan makes this
absolutely
easier to
dead.
play.
this thing is absolutely the cheat target of this entire set. This is the thing you cheat in every single time.
Yeah.
Because it's the easiest to cheat in.
What's it with Ice Legends as of late and just being 1 cost 9Ks that cost more for each card in your opponent's hand?
Because Ice deserves something. Leave us alone.
They got good cards for the last few sets. It's okay.
Thank you, finally. And Lightning got some love here that I like as well.
But
Speaking of Cat 6, 4 cost Setzer forward Gambler. Where's Search Gambler? When Setzer enters the field, name 1 card type. Then your opponent discards 1 card. If the discarded card is the named card type, you draw a card. Special S Ice. Choose 1 forward. Remove the top card of your deck from the game. Deal it 3k damage for each CP required to cast the removed card. I've seen a few people want to do some dumb stuff with this, but I don't know if any of them will work.
Alright, so here's my thought process on this card. It's really quite good, but not in a Cat 6 deck.
It's a discard.
Because, well,
no,
the
it's
reason-
like
you
sets
want
it back
this,
up.
Yeah, exactly. You want the Setzer backup in the Cat 6 deck. You want this Setzer in any
every
other
set.
ice deck.
Yeah.
But you can just play this on turn 1, and then you go, oh, backup. Do you Like, or you
No,
know,
it's got forward.
Forward.
yeah,
You do the
sorry,
opposite.
yeah,
You do the
just
opposite of what you
call
want them to
forward.
do.
So you either have them like discard something that's not a forward and put them off curve, or they discard a forward and you draw a card, which turns this into basically 0 CP net.
Yeah. Yeah, you do the opposite of what you want them to do.
Yeah, it's a difficult decision, but like, I don't know how like hard this will go. At least his accessibility is like decently on right.
The S ability is fine. Like if you flip over 2 CP, then you have you generally you deal 6.
My problem is you lose that card forever. I don't like that. It's not
Yeah, but at least
revealed
just
at
get hit
all.
active forwards.
That's true.
Yeah, actually. Yeah, okay.
Yeah. So this card it's a good card, but not in Cat 6.
Yeah.
No, this
At
is the
least it's not
discard
really
card.
like-
Because every single setter is good only in Cat 6.
And this one's like, well, I mean, the crystal one's like funny because you flip Leviathan off it, but yeah.
Get Leviathan
Really
off this
good.
one. The thing never stood a chance that it targeted.
Yeah, pretty much.
We got a common. You can't convince me otherwise. 5 cost Sarah forward Saboteur 8k. When Sarah enters the field, reveal the top 5 cards of your deck. Add 1 backup among them to your hand, or play 1 Job Moogle backup among them onto the field, and return the other cards to the bottom of your deck in any order. When Sarah attacks, choose 1 character, dull and freeze it. If you control 4 or more backups, your opponent discards 1 card as well. I'm liking this less and less the more I look at it, to be honest, but I'm happy to be convinced otherwise.
So the argument for this card is that you've now got Mont Blanc into Hurdy, which basically is 2 backups straight away. The argument against this is you want to be playing this card at exactly 3 backups. That way you can switch it on properly. If you play it before, there's a chance you miss and you don't get it. If you play it afterwards, there's a chance you'll hit and you won't be able to actually play anything properly.
And
So-
most of the Moogles are most of the Moogles non-legendary, or because I know onto blanket stuff isn't.
All of the Moogles are legendary.
Yeah, so that's the other
Cross
problem I
reference.
have.
All of the Moogles are named characters.
Yeah, so the more Moogles you have, the less chance you also have of hitting a Moogle you don't have out already as well.
Yeah,
Right.
at least it's the top 5, so you get choice. But at the same time, how many Moogles do you have to run to have this proc every single time? And they all have to be backup Moogles. So you're basically running a strictly backup,
Moogle set.
strictly Moogle backup line. And at that point, why aren't you running the starter Sarah instead?
And then you might as well just be playing Physalis that doesn't depend on all this extra stuff.
So 2 points I feel need to be made. One, once we get like a big fat Moogle backup that's like a 7 cost or something, this will cheat it into play because it ignores cost for some reason. But also, if Shadow isn't seeing play, why would Strictly Worse Shadow see play?
Yes, I was going to say this is just bad Shadow.
Nah, you forgot Shadow existed, don't lie to me.
No, because there's something that made me think about it in this actual set, I think. I thought about it today, I was actually talking about it today.
Yeah,
Probably the Edgar
Edgar.
that makes it special free.
Provided you
Yes, I think that was it actually, yeah.
It's not that hard to ping yourself. But anyway.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, this is, Shadow is good. Shadow was good purely because it was Cat 6. This doesn't have any category synergy, and again, if you're doing, the Moogle stuff, you're better off running the starter Sarah with the X-Burst to search for Moogles.
Yeah.
And then you actually get to do stuff with Moogles, and you get to untap them when Sarah attacks.
Yeah. And this interferes with the greatest card in the game, Good King Mogul Mog 12.
Yeah. The more I read, at the start I was kind of like, huh, and then more I read, I'm like, huh.
It's a disappointment.
It's alright, we got one good set. No, it's not.
we- We're not angry with the card,
We're just disappointed.
we're just
Yeah.
disappointed.
This says Terra, but I think it's a mistake. 3 cost, I think, Terra. Forward, Magitech Knight 7k. When Terra enters the field, choose 1 summon in your break zone, remove it from the game. When you do so, place 1 Magitech counter on Terra. Remove 1 Magitech Terra counter off Terra. Terra gains 5 plus 5k power until end of turn. Why does this say Terra so many times? I think this is a misprint. Can I get another one?
Or a balls.
Like, I think...
Order. Villa.
Does this literally go to the bottom of the terror list?
Nah,
Yeah,
second
this-
from the bottom.
Second from the bottom? Okay.
Oh,
Yeah.
what's the bottom terror?
The Ice Terror from Opus 9.
Oh yeah, true.
Like,
No,
this one's
fair
really
enough.
Good and limited. And,
No,
like,
no, this is good and
it's
limited. No,
terror, so
no, actually, I'll pay that. I completely forgot about that terror.
everyone did. That's why I had to bring it up.
Like, I opened this today and I'm like, why did they print a bad terror? They're not meant to do that. They don't do that.
No, this is great for limited, bro.
Yeah. I know, I faced it.
It is pretty good for limited, not gonna lie, but that's the only place it's good.
2 cost Time Mage, standard unit backup. 1 generic dull, put Time Mage into the break zone. Choose 1 job standard unit forward in your break zone, add it to your hand. If it is an ice forward of 3 cost or less, play it onto the field instead. You can only use this ability during your turn. So this is the ice version of the fire card. I'm just going to call these the standard unit cycles to save a bit of time. This one, yeah, focuses on ice because it is ice.
And it's garbage.
Yeah, I don't think
Yeah,
standard units have
I-
had fun for a while.
Other than the
The
new
thing
score,
is-
we don't have any good targets. Like Thorntosh
Exactly.
and
Exactly. All of the good type ice standard units are either banned
or
or
4 costs.
four costs.
Hey, we found our Hurdy. 2 cost Hurdy FFTA2, backup, clan gully member, Moogle. Dull, put Hurdy into the break zone, choose 1 forward, dull it and freeze it. Fire and ice dull, put Hurdy into the break zone, choose 1 fire or ice forward of cost 5 or less from your hand. Choose 1 forward of cost 5 or less from your hand onto the field. Oh, play 1. Ugh, I missed play. I apologize. Yeah.
This is good.
Yeah. Yeah. Give
I
me.
need to point out, not just during your turn.
Yeah, there's no
No.
timing restrictions on these, so
No timing
there's-
restrictions. So you just
there's
wait.
already talk of flashing this in, like
Dude.
flashing in a vein during your opponent's turn.
Yeah, bro.
Yeah.
Or you could just, do the smart thing and flash it in burst tail. Like, we needed more good cards for burst tail. That's what I said when it was like, you put this into Sultanas, because you can just go, cool, I cheated, whatever 5 cost I want.
Yeah, like, it's just yeah. And the fact that you can play this turn 1 searching for it, yeah.
It's fine.
Good cards are good. What can we say?
Yeah, man. It's like, not too expensive either. I like it.
Yeah, so we now got our Garnet Bahamut. 3 cost forward Winged Chaos, 7k. If a job Winged Chaos you control deals damage to a forward, the damage increases by 3k instead. When Garnet Bahamut is put from the field into the break zone, you may search for 1 card named Jet Bahamut or card named Amber Bahamut and add it to your hand. Same from the other one, I think.
I mean, this is in the right element, because again, Cat 13, searchable by Mod 13 too.
Also important to note that it pumps the Jet Bahamut's ETB damage, so 8k exile. So that's not bad.
Yeah, now he's really power creeps too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Power crack to oblivion.
Yeah,
It just needs the help of a 3 cost 7k ice forward.
yeah, which, again, this is why I said this is more of like
Guys.
this is more of like the casual thing. But hey, again, I'm glad that these are both in 2 colors. Because the next card is the other one of the cycle. Just,
The protect one.
yeah, it's the protection.
A shield, a sword, and a gun.
No, it's the shield, the sword, and the bazooka, bro. Like,
The shield, the sword, and the railgun.
yeah.
So Amber Bahamut. If a job forward Winged Chaos 3 cost 7k. If a job Winged Chaos you control is dealt damage by a forward, reduce the damage by 2k instead. When Amber Bahamut is put from field into the break zone, you may search for 1 card named Jet Bahamut or card named Garnet Bahamut and add it to your hand.
Yeah.
So now we've got the shield.
They're pretty much the same thing, except I do also need to point something out. This thing's Japanese name is Bahamut Ratio, so you can clearly tell your opponent that L plus ratio plus you fell off. Plus I protected my forwards. Ugh.
Did you dare punch God? And we got our new Harley for the set. 2 cost backup secretary. I love that secretary is a... Okay, it's a literal job, so alright.
Yeah, she's the king's secretary, bro.
Yeah, but I love that there's like a game that's actually like a thing, and I actually legitimately love that. So Dull, put Harley into the break zone. Each player discards one card. At the end of the turn, each player draws one card. You can only use this ability during your turn. I guess if you just want to get either Lightning or Squall online temporarily and don't care that they get the card back at the end of turn. But
like you have so many other backups that do the same thing.
Yeah.
And discard's permanent, man.
The only thing I can see about this is if your hand is empty, you net one card.
Still not worth.
I'm not saying it is. I'm just saying that's the only thing I can see about this.
And that's the only thing that's actually good about it.
Yeah.
Like, we got Unaleska last set, bro.
Yeah, but Unaleska requires you to pay the cost. Well,
no, even in Cat 4, the other Harley's better.
Yeah,
yes.
Absolutely.
No, I'm not saying that. I'm saying the only thing I see is that. The only advantage this has is, if your hand is empty, you still get the effect, where Unaleska, you need to pay for it. It's part of the cost. But even then, I'm okay with that.
Unaleska comes before that. It's strictly better.
Wait till the next month promo, I guess.
No, it's common. Can't come pro.
They do it just to spite you.
Oh, if they do it just to spite me, then yeah, I'm all for it.
Okay.
Beg for all introductions before that.
Okay, I just want to say one thing. Dat ass. Okay. Like, I just see this picture like, wait, what the... Okay, that's a thing, I guess. 3 cost, White Tiger, LC, Queen Me. Forward LC, type 0. If your opponent has 3 cards or less in their hand, White Tiger, L, Queen... This dude gets plus 2k power and Brave. If your opponent has 1 card or less in their hand, it can't be broken. I kind of like this, but I think I kind of agreed with your responses, is where does it fit in, was the big question.
I gotta ask again for the Square Enix and Home Japan spies watching. Can we get a good White Tiger or C Queen Me?
Being fair, we did kind of get one. It was just 7 sets ago.
Yeah, and like even then, I just don't like her regardless anymore. It's kind of garbage. Just consistently underwhelming. That's what this card is. The embodiment of.
Wait, this is a girl?
Underwhelming. Yeah.
Oh. I changed my mind about that ass. Oh no.
Anyway.
The finest part about the card is that ass.
Hey, look, credit that the armor actually looks sort of gender neutral enough, so I will accept my mistake and go, no, good on you, good art is good art.
Is it just me, or is, like, it's like she's wearing the armor backwards?
It's the weird belt, I think. It looks like the clasp is on the back.
Yeah.
No worries, and
take it easy, Canada.
yeah, and all this is going on the YouTubes at some point. But no, I actually really like this card, even though I killed it by finding a workaround. But yeah.
Anyway, let's move it along.
All right, fine. I can't have good things. Fencer, 2 cost backup standard unit, FFTA2. Dull, put Fencer into the back zone, choose 1 Dull forward, deal at 4k. If you ever received a point of damage, deal at 8k. Part of the same cycle, it does less than the last 2, I think.
I said that last one
Yeah.
was really bad.
Yeah.
This is even worse.
Yeah, so move on.
It is strictly
At least
worse.
you don't have to pay a CP for it. No, it's just kidding. This is terrible.
It's got nice art.
It doesn't.
That's what you're paying attention to?
Well, there's nothing else worth reading on the card.
Bros, card name Fencer support win.
You point to something better, more interesting on the card, now look at that instead.
No.
Well, there's
yeah,
no...
I guess.
I'm not wrong here. 3 cost
Just
Mog 13-2. Backup Moogle. When Moogle X 13-2 enters the field, remove the top card of your deck from the game. You can cast it this turn. The cost required to cast it is reduced by 2. It cannot become 0. I actually kind of like this.
Blah. This card is bad.
The extra card in hand that's cheaper?
Name
the really
clash
bad
with
kind
the
of-
Mod 13-2 that searches
this-
for things.
Yeah, but you're not running it in that deck. I assume this would fit in other decks besides
No,
that
you're
one.
running it because where does this go? Ice Wind. What does Ice Wind have a lot of? Good Cat 13. What searches Cat 13? Mog 13 too. Quad Era Demonstrable.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Anything that gets you a free card seems good to me, especially in Ice.
But the thing is, it's not a free card. You still have to pay CP for it. It's basically a bad drawer card.
Well, that's what I said. No, that's what I said. I said it's a free card draw. It's an extra card in hand.
But it's at the same time, it's not, because you can't pitch that card for CP. Like, think of it this way. This is a similar mechanic to something that's in Magic the Gathering called Impulse, right? Basically, the impulse is you exile like the top 1, 2, or 3 cards, and you could play them that turn. But they like, the reason why it's good over there or passable over there is that sometimes like you could play lands off of them for free, and as no real issue. This doesn't add the card to your hand. That's the most important thing. And because it doesn't add the card to your hand in a game where your hand is your resource, it doesn't make the card good. This is why the Searcher is a lot better, because it actually adds the card to your hand.
Yeah, and also most of the impulse draw in Magic also says until the end of your next turn.
Yes.
So that at least gives it something to work off of. And like, you hit something you can't play off of this, cool, you've lost that card forever.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's gone.
And like, you didn't even get value out of it.
And it is, and I will say this, like, just to be fair, in your benefit, it does say like remove from the game as well. So it's not even like it's in your bin to get recurred.
Yeah, it's just gone.
But with that being said, weirdly enough, I still expect this to see play. Enough people will high roll off of it that it's going to matter.
That's what I was feeling. That's why I was like,
I would like to meet those people.
I would too. Like, I know it's like bad, but I get like, people have played bad cards before. A lot of people played Opus 8 on. Anyway.
Hi, how you doing?
Oh god, I hated that thing so much. And everyone's like, it's fine. Like, no, stop it.
Anyway.
I always play bad cards.
Yeah. Yotsuyu, EX Burst 5 cost forward, acting Imperial Viceroy, 6k. EX Burst, when enters the field, choose one forward. If your opponent doesn't discard one card, break it. Remind me, was Sid Allstein an EX Burst as well?
Yes, Sid Allstein was a burst. Sid Allstein was also plus 3k bigger and didn't give your opponent the option.
Yeah.
Well, the other Sid doesn't empty their hand, it just says if they have 0.
Yeah, but also, like, your opponent is always discarding 1 off of this. Like, they don't...
Yeah,
like,
this basically says, choose one forward, your opponent discards a card.
Yeah, okay, that's the feeling I was getting as well, I just wasn't sure.
It's like, the only time they can't choose is if their hand's empty, at which point,
you play Sid Allstein.
You just play Allstein instead, exactly.
Yeah, like, I described this as Sid Allstein with more steps, but I didn't know if those more steps were better or worse. That's where I was sort of umming and erring.
Yeah, the steps, the extra steps, and strictly the opponent getting the choice makes this a worse card.
Yeah, and like, stuff Yotsuyu. Give me Tsukiyomi Primal already. Like, my goodness.
Yeah. Oh, I love that we got a few new ones of these. I don't know how I feel about it, but I love it. 2-cost Legendary Turk, forward member of the Turk, 5k. Each forward you control with a Turk counter on it gets plus 5k power. Discard 2 cards, choose one category 7 forward you control, place a Turk counter on it. Put Legendary Turk into the break zone, choose one forward, break it. You can only use this ability if a Turk counter is placed on Legendary Turk. So you can only use that second ability when you activate the first one, after the counter resolves on it.
So it's effectively just sack your 6-cost 10k to break a forward.
Yeah. Well, yeah, discard 2, sack your 10k, kill something.
It's important to note as well that it pumps all of your
category 7
counters on them by a lot, so it's not just itself.
You're using this, I think, more for what it is as opposed to for what it does, because it's an Ice Turk.
Exactly, that's the only reason, and it's the only Ice Turk.
Yeah, so you might as well keep it on hand just for that. But even then, like, you're not going to feel good about it.
But I do like that you can respond to someone trying to kill this by pumping it to 10k. Like, you got some control with the instant speed as well. I don't like the break effect, but cool, instant speed, pump my dudes by 5 is as long as you can discard 2 cards safely.
2 cards though, man.
Yeah, I know. That's why I'm a
It
bit
is a
not
large
as
price
enthusiastic.
to pay, not gonna lie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
At the
And
same
even
time,
then-
though, like I do like the sack effect because it doesn't target double forwards. But at the same time, are you really ever going to want to sack this?
Yeah, right. And even then, like the ice side of the Turks, now that I'm thinking about it, basically just Rufus.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's literally just Rufus. That's it. And this
Like
guy.
it's lightning, and then you splash the ice for this. Like this.
Yeah. It's
Just unfortunate.
like I said, I'm glad we got some member of the Turks, but I don't know. This one
You know
has me bit.
We'll get a better one later on. It's all good.
Yes,
This is a
we
not
got a
so.
new dancer.
This is a not so legendary Turk.
Yeah, it's the first rare legend, bro. So good.
He's
Oh,
legendary in name alone. But yeah, we ended on an interesting note for ice, and we've moved into wind now.